Hi, my name is Jack Hicks. I'm a voice artist, and I'd like to give you some free lessons on voiceover. Free lessons, I'm not kidding, free. Why would you want to take lessons for free from somebody? You get what you pay for, right? Well, not always. I'm going to give you some very valuable advice, some very great advice about the voiceover business, and you don't have to pay anything for it. And why would I do that? Well, there's three reasons. One, when you teach somebody something, you learn yourself and you get better yourself. That's one of the reasons I want to do it. I also wrote a book on voiceover called 99 Tips to Voiceover Excellence. It didn't really sell very good and got buried in Amazon, and nothing really ever happened with it. And there is a lot of good advice in there. I'm not here to sell the book, but what I'm going to do is go through that book, each tip one by one, and work it into a lesson for you, so you don't have to buy the book. You can just get it for free right here. And the other reason I want to do it is because people helped me. When I first started in voiceover, even before I got into the business and became a full-time voice artist, and even a part-time one for that matter, just asking a lot of questions, I was fortunate enough to work with some pretty talented people. I worked with Tom Bernard, who was a very successful voice artist, and a lot of national stuff, Nike, Gillette, beers, movie trailers. I mean, big time national voice. And that was back in the days of the studio, where he'd have to go to a studio record. There was no home recording that he was doing back then, as were all the voiceover artists. But he was big time. He had an apartment, lived here in Minneapolis, but he kept an apartment in New York and flew out there for a couple days a week. But he would share his information with me. I'd ask him questions, and he so generously told me so many things that really helped me over the years, and I really appreciated that. And another person is Mae Young. Mae is a very successful voiceover artist, and she just dominated the Minneapolis-St. Paul airwaves locally here for years and was so good. And same thing, she helped me out a lot. She gave me free advice whenever I wanted it. I could call her, I could ask her questions. About everything too, the business, how to practice, how to get good. She helped me get my first agent. There was a lot of things that she really did for me that really helped me a lot, and I really appreciate that very much. And so I decided that I was going to help people if anybody ever asked. Now, I know that you're not coming to me and asking me directly, because you can't, but you're going to the YouTube thing here and checking it out. You're asking, you're looking. So I'm here to help out. And also, I'm not motivated by trying to get the most popular YouTube channel in the world. You don't have to smash the like button. You don't have to save me as a favorite. I might suggest that you do follow my channel. You don't have to. It doesn't matter to me at all. I'm not out to try to win the YouTube battle or any of that stuff. But the reason I say that is because I'm going to be loading all 99 lessons one at a time with me demonstrating them and talking about them a little more in depth than I do in the book. So, every time I put out a new one, you'll get it. And I'll try to do, I'm going to do one a week, guaranteed, but I'm going to try to go for 2 a week. These videos are harder to put out than it seems. But where we have to start here for the first lesson today is this, and that is, should you get into voiceovers? That's the question you're probably asking. Maybe you've been told you have a great voice. Maybe you've been in radio for years and now you love the business, but you got screwed over by it because, let's face it, the radio business basically is almost shut down. Drive by a radio station now and there's one car in the parking lot. When I worked at I was there in, I would say, radio's heydays when it was still big. And there was 50 people. I was at a radio station, and all it was an AM and FM combo. So KQRS, in fact, in Minneapolis, KQRS, AM and FM. And that was the only station we had in the building. And we had 50 people working there. We had an air staff of, full-time, probably 10 to 15 people, because when you figure the morning show in, they had a lot of people on the show. And then the rest of the air staff, I came on at 9 to 2. I did a 5-hour shift every day with the weekends off. So they offered me a 5-hour shift and they go, we'll give you that to you. We'll give you weekends off. What do you think of that? It's like, Yeah, I jumped at that one. But so we had that going on. And then, we had a full promotion staff. We had interns. We had a research department, doing call out research, salespeople. I mean, the place was packed, several engineers. I mean, it was pretty big time. They didn't really, copywriters we had a lot of stuff going on it was a lot of fun, really. But, I got to work with people that helped me out. So I always said I would help people out if I got the chance. So I'm doing that right now. So I'm not really motivated by money. The other thing that I might get out of doing this channel is maybe it'll scare up some business. Maybe it'll help me get more business as a voiceover artist. So the question then, back to the original question, is should you get into the voiceover business? Well, I can tell you, let's go through the pros of what the business is like. I'm a full-time working voiceover artist, and I make a lot of money. I make more than double than I ever made in radio, and I did pretty good in radio. I would say I wasn't at the level of the major market morning show guys, in the network syndicated. I wasn't at the Rush Limbaugh or Howard Stern or Rick Dees level. Wasn't at the Tom Bernard level, the local morning show guy here in Minneapolis, or the Chuck Knapp level, or any of those kind of guys. But I was right under that. So I'd be the next step down from that and then up from everybody else. I made a really good salary back in my day. And I've tripled that with the voiceover business without, I don't want to say without any effort or without even trying, because I certainly put the work in doing this, and I'm still, every day, I practice 2 hours a day, and then I work probably 2, 3, 4 hours a day as well. And I've had great success. I've done commercials that have run on Monday Night Football. That would be my biggest. I can say that I've had a commercial that ran on Monday Night Football. I've been on CNN, Fox News Channel, Bloomberg, Golf Channel, Headline News, all of the cable channels I've been on. I've been on a lot of national radio. I've been on in markets like LA, San Francisco, Dallas, Chicago, New York City, Minneapolis, Denver, a lot of major market, local markets as well. And, I've done pretty good at it. I can give a beginner a lot of advice. Well, okay, so the pros. You can make a lot of money, and I make a lot of money. It's a little slow right now, but you can make a lot of money doing this. There's no question about it. You don't have to work. It's not a back-breaking job. I'm not breaking bones. I'm not falling from heights. I'm not sniffing fumes. I'm not getting repetitive stress injury. I'm not getting punched. I'm not getting beat up. I'm not wrestling people. I'm not dodging gunfire. There's a lot of things that I just don't have to put up with. And, it's a nice, clean environment. It's fun. It's creative. It's exciting to learn voice acting, and that's really what it is. It's acting, which it took me a long time to accept that. I always thought of myself as an announcer, and I still do. Like May used to say, there's about 20% of announcer in a voiceover. It's like they tell you, we don't want an announcer, but yet at the same time, if you take it too far into just straight acting, it's not going to be enough. Voice acting is different than on-camera acting, for TV or movies or acting on the theater. Now those kind of businesses do apply to that. People come from the theater and TV all the time, and some of them are extremely successful at it. So, an acting background usually is preferred over a radio background. And the reason for that is because radio announcers develop cliches. They have a tendency to get a radio sound going. Some of them talk like this a little bit. Some of them have kind of their nose sounds like it's clogged up a little bit, and then they put a little bit of that in there, and then they put a little more energy than they need to, and then they also put that big voice in there, like they do that. But they don't really want that nowadays, mostly. Sometimes they do, but mostly what they want is just a natural, hey, once upon a time I was downtown Bemidji, Minnesota, and I ran into a good old friend of mine, and we went in and had a couple of beers. We were talking for hours and laughing, telling the story of the time. I mean, it's more of that than if you're looking for a new car, you need to go to, I mean, there is a need for that too, but not as great of a need. And the big money is not in that. And, big money too is a little bit elusive. I make my money from doing $300 to $500 voiceover jobs, $300 local commercials. Occasionally I get, some national work at, $1,000 a pop or a couple thousand. And, and those are gravy. But most of my work, the majority of the money comes from those $300 to $500, $300 to $600, $700 jobs. E-learning sometimes, video narration for people's YouTube videos for their businesses, that sort of stuff. So it's fun, it's clean, you can work from home. It's a great business, really. I love it. I really love it a lot. And if you have the desire, maybe look into it a little bit. Let's go through the cons. The cons are you can literally starve. I mean, there's people out there that have been in the business for a long time, and they're lucky if they're making $1,000 a year. And some of the big-time national guys don't make money anymore. The problem was if you go just national, big-time only, is that the shelf life for a career, it seems to me, is kind of short. Look at like the big movie stars that have done a lot of voiceover work. Morgan Freeman. He was very popular for a while, and I don't hear him very much anymore. Tim Allen, very popular for a while, don't hear him very much anymore. And these guys made a lot of money, but it disappeared. John Krasinski, popular, made a lot of money, gone. Donald Sutherland made a lot of money doing, Delta Airlines and Simply Orange Juice and those kind of things. Haven't really heard him too much lately. And, and all these guys are really good at what they do, but, the national people seem to latch onto somebody for a while and they love them, and then they ditch them. So, and to go that route, it's feast or famine, and it's mostly famine. A lot of the feasting is done by the big time Hollywood actors, whereas I'm a working man. I'm kind of half blue collar, half white collar, is the way I look at the job. But so the cons are you might not make any money at it at all. And that's what, people in the voiceover industry love to tell you how hard it is to do this job. This is a hard business. It's a lot harder than you think. And it is. And a couple of the reasons that make it hard. The hard things about it are two, really. It's hard to get really good at it because you got to put in time practicing. And the other thing that's hard about it is it's hard to make a living at it. There's a lot of people out there that just don't make any money at it. I know quite a few people that are making between $100,000 and $200,000 a year. And I know a few people personally that make $500,000 a year. And it gets thinner and thinner. It's like, the 500,000 and $1 million guys are up at the top of the pyramid, and you get down to the bottom, and the guy's making, 150 here and there, or 200 here or there, maybe 1,000 a year if they're lucky. A lot of those. And there's also a lot of people that never, ever get hired for doing it at all. So it's hard. That part of it is very hard. The other thing about the business is the ramp-up time to getting good is longer than you think it's going to be. You might have been told your whole life that you have a great voice. Well, that might just work for you, but it might not, because a great voice isn't everything. It's something. It's cool, but it's not everything. It's sort of like an actress who is beautiful, and then they ask, well, how good is she at acting? You've heard this before. Well, as long as she doesn't say anything, she's great. That's kind of what having a good voice is. You're beautiful. Your voice is beautiful. But if you don't know how to act or use it properly, you're not really going to go anywhere. And that takes time to learn that. That's not something you just know. Some people, a very small handful of people do, but pretty rare. So, you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to take lessons. You're going to have to study with a guy, and those lessons are expensive. And not every person that you study with will be great. A lot of times you'll get ripped off. You know, you'll pay $275 an hour for 5 lessons in, or 6, or whatever. You might go, I don't know if this is, and sometimes it's just not the right fit for you. Sometimes it's not the direction you want to go in. So, so there's that. And then there's also the learning curve of, you know, if you've worked in radio, you know, you probably know how to edit audio on a computer, which gives you an advantage over a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the voiceover business that still will only go into a studio. They don't know how to, you know, or haven't taken the time to learn how to run Adobe Audition and know how to set up a microphone and a preamp and all that stuff. They're just like, oh no, I've met them. I've met people like that in actual studios, and they're like, no, I don't do that stuff. You know, that's beyond. I don't even want to. Oh, my mind won't let me go there. And it's actually not that hard, but it takes time, and you got to put in the work to study. You probably got to watch YouTube videos and tutorials, and you know, learn from other people. And after a while, you know, you get to be a master of it. And you know, so that's one of the other things about it. And then you're going to have to spend money, kind of a lot of money, actually. You know, everybody thinks that you know, you can get in for nothing. You know, I got a good microphone. I've got a Rode. You know, and it's like, okay, you know, and you know, I can record it into my computer. Well, a good microphone, and I'd put Rode in as a good beginner microphone. But you know, if you're going to compete against the guys in Hollywood, if you're going to compete against the guys in New York City, if you're going to compete against the guys in Chicago, you have to have, I believe, one of the microphones that you know, have become famous. If anything, only to join the club. You know, you're not going to see the Rolling Stones up on stage playing a, you know, Epiphone guitar that they bought out of Musician's Friend. You know, and it's the same thing. You're not going to see, you know, a Don LaFontaine type voice actor using, you know, a $200 Rode mic they bought off of, you know, Musician's Friend. But not to say they couldn't record somebody like him. He's died now, of course, but couldn't make do with a Rode microphone because they have the skills. But it's also, to compete with those guys, you have to, I believe, you have to use the equipment. I've got 2 microphones, a Neumann U87 and a Sennheiser MKH416. The Sennheiser, I think I paid $1,000 for that. Sometimes you can find them cheaper, refurbished. And that would probably be the way to go, you know, because it's $1,000 is quite a bit cheaper. The other microphone, the Neumann U87, I paid $3,300 for, and now I believe they're up to $3,600, and they're rising steadily. Both are great mics. You have to learn them. You have to learn how to use them. You also have to set up, well, and then in addition to that, you have to get a preamp that goes into your computer. You have to have a decent computer. You got to have the software to edit it on. You have to have a room that you can record in that sounds good, and a closet works a little bit. You know, people will say, use a walk-in closet because you've got the clothes all the way around that absorb the sound. And that's how I started. You know, I started in a closet, and it worked really good mostly, but it's not perfect. You know, it's not LA. You know, you're going to have to treat the room. And let's say even if you treat the room with acoustic blankets, which cost about $200 a piece, and you need 5 of those, well, there's $1,000. So now let's say the microphone, the acoustic treatment that you decide to use, there's $2,000. Let's say an interface and a preamp, you know, you're up to at least $1,000 for those two, $3,000. And then you got to have a good computer that can handle doing audio, you know, and that's, you know, probably $2,000. So now you're up to $5,000. And then you still got the cables and all that stuff. And then you got to pay for promotion. You know, you have to be on Voice 123 or something, probably to start with. But you got to pay to be on there, you know, or getting an agent. Then you have to pay to get a really good demo produced. You don't want to mess around with that and put some junk up that you did, you know, 20 years ago in your little tape recorder. I mean, you know, so that's another $2,000 to $3,000. Probably get it done for $2,000. I've flown out to LA and done a couple of audio auditions out there, and usually it's been $2,500 each. So I've done 3 of those, and I did another one with a guy who I recorded at my house. Sometimes you can do that if you have a great sounding studio. You can record it and then have the guy direct you, Because see, you want to be directed too, and then you want to have the production that they put in. Okay, so let's say 10 grand, and that's kind of on the cheap side. You know, let's say you go for the higher end stuff. You're going to have one demo produced. You're going to get a Neumann, you decide, $3,500. You want to get a good preamp for $1,500, let's say, starting. So now you're up to 5. You want to get, you know, the chords and all that stuff, maybe another $5,500. The acoustic treatment, $6,500. The computer, $8,500. So, yeah, for 10, you know, and then a demo. You know, you could, to get by really good quality, you can get by for about 10 grand. So it's going to cost you some money. Otherwise, you know, a lot of people say, you don't need to do all that. You just do it in the closet. You get a Rode microphone for $200. You get an interface for $200. And you get, what's that called? Audacity, free, which you can do. Audacity is free. It's a recording software, and you can use that. I use Adobe Audition because it works better for me. It's easier to edit with. It doesn't sound any better. The sound quality of you know, these recording outfits, the software, is pretty much the same. You know, it's digital. It's the features, how easy it is to use, you know, that sort of thing. So the pros, it's fun. You can make a lot of money, but it's going to take you time to build up to that. The first year I started, I made $6,000 part-time work while I was still working at the radio station. I doubled my income every single year for the first 5 years. And when you start out at $6 grand a year and double that, you know, it doesn't take long, you know, to get up to 100 grand a year. But, you know, like I say, I put in the work. I auditioned, I studied, I got my name out there as much as I could. I did everything I possibly could to get in it. So there's a lot of work with that. And that part of it, with these free lessons, I'm not going to be covering how to market yourself, at least at this point. Just how do you get better at being a voice artist? So, and then the cons are, it's expensive to get in. The competition is fierce right now, more than it's ever been. And the reason for that is, you know, when the COVID thing hit, everybody's like, hey, I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do, be a voice artist. And there's thousands of them out there like that, just plugging up the system with junk, which makes it harder for a legitimate voiceover, full-time voiceover artist to get heard. Because, you know, these guys are like, the guys listening to the demos are like, you know, the auditions, nope, 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 maybe, nope, 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 maybe. And after a while, their brain is like, I can't handle this anymore. Meanwhile, you might have been 15th in line and you didn't even get heard. So, I mean, just getting heard is a difficult thing to do sometimes. Anyway, I hope this helps you make a decision. And oh, one more thing. If you decide that you want to be a voice artist, you have to go all in. You don't want to halfway do it. You don't want to do a halfway job, dabble in it. I mean, you can, you know, maybe, you know, if it's just a hobby or something and that's what you want to do, go for it. But if you really want to be a serious voice artist, be good at it. You have to practice a couple hours a day. And I would start by reading out loud. That's what you should start with. Read out loud for, you know, an hour a day to start. And after you do that for like a couple of months, then shop around for a teacher and see if you can find a teacher that will give you like a free lesson and analyze how good they think you are. So start there. But the other thing you can do too is start reading out loud and then just watch my free lessons from here on out. And like I said, 99 are on the way. Thank you very much. My name's Jack Hicks, and I hope you have a great career if you decided to do it. And if I've helped you decide not to do it, I think I've done you a favor as well. You don't want to waste your time doing something that you're not cut out for, you're not going to make any money at, it's going to be very difficult, and you're going to spend a bunch of money and then back out of it. So you got to go all in if you go. Take care.